Hello
Hello.
and welcome everyone to this week's IndUK Part 1, where we are talking about games that we used to play and some games that people still play themselves, maybe at school
Mm-hmm.
or at home.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you for watching again, everybody. And if you could like and share this video, then we can reach more people and entertain even more people as well.
Yeah.
So, it's my turn this week to ask City 5 questions about
Mm-hmm.
games and fun things to do in Indonesia. So
Yes.
let's see how City is today. How are you today, City?
I am great. I'm great. I'm very good. I'm very well. I feel really good. And what about you? How are you?
I'm good. The weather here is good for once, as the sun has just come out, and now we can
Oh.
start talking about games, which is a nice and
Mm.
interesting
Oh, it must be
thing
a
to
very
do.
good day for you.
Yeah, it's a good day to me.
Okay.
So, shall I start with the questions to you about the games and
Yeah.
gadgets and stuff in Indonesia?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Well, this is the first question, and it is, what gadget was popular amongst youngsters when you were little? What was it that made it so cool and irresistible?
Talking about games, especially when I was little or when I was a kid, there were so many games, but most of them are outdoor games, like a lot. Maybe you have heard like some of them as well. Like for example, hopscotch, or maybe like skipping rope, or hide and seek. And then there are some other like games that we played with the rubber bands. We used to have like a lot of rubber bands. Oh, but and by the way, about the skipping rope, actually we made the skipping rope like ourselves from the rubber band. So we're going to like made like a chain, like a long chain out of those rubber bands. And then there were some games that we played with the marbles. And also there were, okay, the game, one of the game is that we just got like some twig, like from the twig we got it, like, so we got one, like the short one, and then the long, I forgot what it was called. And then I forgot what it is called, but I'm not sure if actually you can find this game over there in the UK. So, and then you can just hit the small twig, and then it will just like like fly all the way like to the far place, and then there will be somebody who's gonna catch it like that. So it was fun. So there were a lot of games, and then some of them are the one that I have just mentioned. But then most of the games that we played when I was a kid, and also with together with my friends, were like outdoor games.
Wow, that's really
Cool,
cool.
right? Mm.
So there wasn't really any kind of electric games that people were interested in or were
Mhm.
popular amongst the school children.
Oh, about electric games, because I was born in a village, and then all we had was the television, and even we got only one or two channels on the television. And so we spend most of our time, me and my friends, like outside for like playing the outdoor activities. So no, we didn't get attached. We didn't have any phone. We didn't have any like gadgets or anything. No, we didn't have
Wow,
it
that's
at all.
very interesting because here we had lots of many gadgets which people were
Oh,
really interested in. Like we had Tamagotchi. These were from
Tamagotchi. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like an electronic pet, and you had to feed
Mm-hmm.
it and play with it and take care of it every day. And
Mm-hmm.
then you would see it grow up and become like an adult pet.
Yeah.
So
So
that's good.
Tamagotchi.
Maybe,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, maybe we can talk about that later in my interview.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that's good. So that's interesting that you had more outdoor and physical games rather than
Yes.
any electronic games in
It's really
Indonesia.
fun. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now let's move to the second question of
Yes.
the episode. And this one is number two. What was a favorite playground game when you were at primary school? So maybe you talked about some already. So maybe
Mhm.
um, you can focus on one in particular this time.
Mhm.
And how did you play this game?
Mm, I think the most favorite one was the hopscotch because actually it was easy to play. We could just play it anywhere. Even sometimes, like for example, on the floor, let's say even in the classroom, for example, we were just in the classroom and then during the break time, or maybe when we were waiting for our teacher to come into the class, then we would just, sometimes the floor, it has like some tiles, like maybe like square and square square like that. So we would just play like the hopscotch on that on those squares, on those tiles, like in the classroom, or maybe even like in front of the class. Or sometimes we will just draw on the ground using like a small twig or something, and then we just draw like the hopscotch. So it was like the easiest one to play. And even like the something like the marker that we used to throw, we could just get it like from anywhere. So we could just like get any like a rock or maybe anything, anything that we can use like to just throw to mark like our position. I mean, like to mark the square or the position that we are playing in that hopscotch thing. So I think that's the easiest one. And the other one is, there was another game, the one that we did with the cards. So the cards, I forgot how to play it actually. So there were like some characters on the cards, and I think there were like some of the cards were about the Pokemon thing. So it's like we are fighting. Oh yeah. So for example, like this, you want the card, your character on the card, and then I have mine on my card, and then we're just gonna toss our palms like this, and then so those two cards are gonna fall. The one who is on the top of the other is the winner.
Really?
Yeah, so that was the thing. And then if we won, then we would take the other more card from the other friend, like from the other person. So we used to collect those cards. We loved it. We loved collecting those cards. I think that's what we loved. So the one, because it's pretty cool, right? That was the coolest one when we've got a lot of cards with a lot of like characters. That was cool. And as I mentioned, the easiest one is the hopscotch, and then the coolest one is collecting the cards. And oh my god, so I have already categorized like those games. And the other one is um the I think the skipping rope as well, because in the way how we made our own skipping rope, that was kind of like a skill. So sometimes we showed off, like come on, this is my skipping rope, and then this is my skipping rope, like in the way how we created the skipping ropes out of the rubber bands. That was such a great skill. Yeah, so sometimes we just compared one to another with the skipping rope. And I think those games were like most played by us when we were kids. I mean, I was a kid and also like together with my friends. Yeah, I think yes, there's three out of the others. But again, it must be different from one person to the others. Yeah, it's according to my observation. Then those all are.
Oh wow, and Pokemon cards, they were also in your village, right? They were also
Yeah, yeah,
able to be
yeah,
sold. But
yeah.
was there a shop in your village which sold them? And did the kids go there every week to get more and more cards?
Correct. That's correct. Sometimes we just like during the weeks we are trying to save like some money from our pocket money, and then so that on the weekend we could go to the market and then we could get like more character cards. But then actually it wasn't limited to the Pokemon cards. There were also like for some other superheroes like Power Rangers and also Dragon Ball, and also What else? Yeah, I think that's all. Maybe there are some other some others, but I forgot. Yes.
Yeah, and shall we move on to number 3 now?
Sure.
So number 3 is, did you play any video games when you were young? And which was your favorite and why? And maybe if you didn't play any when you were young, maybe you could talk about a video game maybe that you played recently.
Video games. First of all, I am not good at playing games because every time I try to play any games, whatever it is, and then I fail, it makes me feel bad with the failure. So I don't like playing games. And when I was a kid, as I mentioned, I played mostly outdoor activities and outdoor games, so I didn't play any video games. But then, if let's say, yeah, now I remember that there was one gadget that I played at a time. Also, I got one, and also my brother. We got that Tetris game.
Oh yeah, Tetris.
Yeah, the Tetris. So it's like that simple one. Even I remember that sometimes we took turn to play that Tetris. Me and my brother, and also my sister. So we took turns. So every time, let's say I played, and then after that I failed, then my brother took the turn to play, and then so we took turn one to another, one after another, and that's one thing. And then about the video games, and also I heard some of my friends, like at my age, the ones who are not from the village, actually before in the past they played Super Mario games thing. But actually, me personally, I have never played that game, and I don't know how to play that actually. Yeah, but most of them they mentioned it. That was one of the games that they played. And because I don't have any experience with the video games, and then if you are now asking me the games that I have just played recently, no, no, there's yeah, no. I don't
Really?
play games. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard, to play games. It's hard.
But do you play any games like Duolingo or such things like that you can learn
Oh,
from?
okay. So I love the games, the one that I have on Duolingo, because from there I can learn something. Like at the same time I am playing, and then also at the same time I am learning something, which is the language. So it's fun for me, and then well, that's really cool. And then I play it every day for Duolingo. Yes.
Yeah, so I guess Duolingo is a popular game for you as an Indonesian person. So I guess it can help us learn like different
Yes.
language skills, and then it's also fun to
Mhm.
compete against other people
Yeah.
from all around the world. So I
Yes.
guess that's what's good about the technology these days. We can play with anyone in the world rather than
Yeah.
just when we were young, we could only really play with our friends or our
Mm-hmm.
family. Now we can play games with everyone around the world thanks to
Mm-hmm.
technology and smartphones and the
Yes.
internet connection. Because I remember when we were young, um, very few people had an internet connection. So
That's true.
we could
Same
only,
here.
yeah, we could only play with our close friends or family.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's true.
So yeah, thank God for um, the internet and technology for allowing us to
Mm-hmm.
play during the pandemic
Yes.
with other people to keep
Mm-hmm.
in contact and
Yeah.
enjoy gaming with those people. So let's move on to number 4.
All right.
Um, so did you play any educational games in school? And which were your favorites and why? So, did your teachers kind of put some games into lessons like a maths game or a Bahasa Indonesia game in Bahasa Indonesia or an English game in English, for example?
Oh, that is an interesting question. As far as I remember, when I was in primary school or when I was in junior high school, uh, again, I had to mention that I come from a small village in Indonesia, and then to play games in the classroom was not that popular at the time. So it was not popular at all. So I could say that we didn't really play any educational games. What is it in the classroom, especially like during the lesson or something. But then I can tell there is one of the games that I consider it as an educational. Like for example, ABC games. Are you familiar with the games where, for example, me and some of my friends, so we are going to show like fingers. For example, I'm going to give 3 fingers, or the other give like 4 fingers, and then we're going to say ABCDEFGHIJ, so like that, and so on and so forth, until all the fingers have already like been mentioned according to the alphabet. And then so once it stops, we need to mention one word related, starts with that specific letter. For example, we our deal is, okay, so for now let's mention the name of fruits, for example. So we would play ABCD, EF G, for example, and then it stops at G. Then the fastest one who get the word with this G, for example, grapes, and then okay, so the person get like some points, and then but the last one, then there would be like some kind of, I would say, punishment for the one who couldn't tell any word from the letter. So it was not really in the classroom, but I consider this game as one of the educational games that we played, but it was still out of the classroom. But then when I was in high school, I started to play Scrabble, like the board game, where we made up words out of like 7 letters that we got. So yeah, that's the educational game that I played.
Yeah, it sounds really.
Yeah, Scrabble. So I got familiar with Scrabble when I was in high school, and I also joined like some competitions, Scrabble competition, but sadly I never won.
Yeah, we also have Scrabble in the UK, so I guess this
Oh,
is a
okay.
global game.
Uh-huh.
So I remember once playing it in the kind of snooker hall because they had
Mm-hmm.
some tables there. So me, another English friend, and a Chinese
Mm-hmm.
friend just
Mm-hmm.
played that for hours and hours on our Chinese friend's last day in the UK. So we enjoyed that game a lot. And
Fun, right?
the snooker hall let us just play there, and then we
Mm-hmm.
had some nice drinks and chit chat after. So that
Mm-hmm.
was a nice way to play Scrabble. That's
Yeah, that's
cool.
great. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and let's move on to number 5 now. Let's see what we can answer with this one. So number 5 is, what is a popular app game in Indonesia, and why would this one be so interesting? So do people play app games in Indonesia?
Do you mean so you mean at the moment, right? At this time?
Yes, at the moment, yeah.
Mm, yeah. So actually now there are so many games that the people in Indonesia play, like especially the video games. Like I think more and more people are interested, and also they start playing the video games, and then even like most of them, not most of them, some of them, they broadcast their play like on social media. So some of the games are like Free Fire, and also PUBG, Minecraft, Mobile Legend. There are a lot of games, and then even like each game has its own fans. And sometimes even like the fans of like game one, like the first game, they are like they like to make fun of each other because of like the games that actually they are playing, because they want to show that their game is like better than the others. So it's like that. So what's happening in Indonesia is now, again, I'd like to say again, there are so many games that they are interested in. Some of them are the one that I mentioned, and even, oh, you know what? Because video games are getting more and more popular in Indonesia. There was one time I asked my students, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And my students said, I want to be a gamer. So,
That's such a
the,
cool thing.
so that was surprising because before in the old days when we asked the students what they want to be when you grow up, then uh, like most students would say, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a police, or I want to be a pilot or something. But then like nowadays they would say, I want to be a gamer. Yeah.
Ah, I see. So I guess many young people are inspired by gaming and they want to
Yes.
be a gamer.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm,
yeah, also here people like to play a lot of PUBG on their mobile phones.
mm-hmm,
So I guess this is also popular in the UK too. So
mm-hmm.
it gets a really huge audience of people who play this game. And
Yeah.
yeah, even some of my
Yes.
students,
Mm-hmm.
even the girl students, they also like to play PUBG and they can
Uh,
join with
okay.
friends across the world and be
Mm-hmm.
in one team. And
Yeah.
then it's kind of like you're playing with friends together in the room, but
Mm-hmm.
actually you can still talk to them and play along with them in the game. So it's a nice way to play together in the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And guess what? Those games, I have no idea how each game is played. Like for example, you tell me PUBG. I don't know what we as the players do in PUBG game or Free Fire or maybe like Minecraft Mobile Legends. Well, Minecraft maybe I know I got a clue because there was like one time one of my students she explained to me like the way how she played that Minecraft, like building like things like that. So yeah. I am not that familiar with games, and well, but hopefully the information that I have shared now somehow it gives like some information and also some knowledge about how things are or how games are in Indonesia, especially since I was a child.
Yeah, it's great. And I learned a lot about Indonesia too. And there
Mhm,
are some differences and some similarities between games here and in Indonesia too,
mhm,
I found. So we also play hopscotch and we also had Pokemon cards and we also play PUBG, but I don't think we played the educational game. And
mhm,
maybe in primary school we had more gadgets and stuff like that and
mhm.
video games. So that's really interesting.
Did you have Tetris? Tetris game, you know, like.
Oh yeah, I think we had Tetris, but it
Mhm.
wasn't popular when I was young. I think it
Oh,
was popular with like the generation before because
oh,
a lot of people, maybe 10 or 20 or 30 years older, would be playing this. But we had
oh, okay.
more video games like Sega Mega Drive
Oh, okay,
and
okay, right.
Nintendo.
Okay. Yeah, some of my friends have mentioned about that Nintendo thing, but I have no idea like in which era that started to be popular actually. Mhm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, great. What a great episode for the interview on gaming and all sorts of
Yeah.
games.
Yes.
So thank you to everyone who's watched this interesting episode.
Mm-hmm.
And if you liked it, why not give it a thumbs up and also a follow as well, so you can watch even more and more episodes.
Yeah.
And why not even put the bell notification on so you always know when there is a new episode coming. Anyway, thank you to City for this interview,
You are
and we'll
welcome.
have the next interview coming up with me later.
Yes, sure.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye.